So fucking hot in here. Okay, great. We'll just die. Do you see the things I do for you also? Like, the things I go through. Like, just to do this? Girl. None of this be okay. Anyways. Yeah, hey guys, what's up? My name's Jack, and I'm going to be telling you a story about how I snuck out and went across the country. So basically, I don't know. We're going to start at the beginning, and there's a bit of a backstory to this, so... yeah. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to make, like, a big, like, coming out video, because... I don't know, I'm just not. Like, I'm not emotional about it anymore. It just is a thing, and it's part of me, and, like... if you don't like it, then, like, cry me a fucking river, because... no, this is PG-friendly content. Keep it G, like Toy Story. That's what I always say. Also, should I take these? Oh my god, they look so dirty, but I also can't see without them, so, like... sorry? Kind of. I should probably clean them. That makes me sound like such a dirty bitch. Anyways. Yeah. So, basically, backstory. So, I'm bi, which means I can have a boyfriend... or, well, okay, technically I'm pan, but, like, no one knows what that means. So we're just gonna say bi, because it's easier. Basically it means I date whoever the fuck I want, because I don't need your standards. A boy, a girl, or someone in between, like, I don't care. If I like you for who you are, and, like, what you look like. I don't care about a stupid pronoun. Anyways, back to the story. Yeah, so... basically, I had a boyfriend. We're not going to use his name for this. We're just gonna say, what's a good name? We're gonna call him, I can't think of any good boy names. Thomas. We're gonna call him Thomas. Okay, so me and Thomas, we had started dating in, like, August of last year, which is 2019 now, so... started dating in August of last year, which means... at this point, we'd probably been dating for, like, a month before we met. We're actually gonna, like, meet in person. And he lived in South Carolina, I live in Illinois. And, yeah. So, another one of my friends, we're gonna call her... what can we call her? Oh my god, I'm so bad with names. We'll call her Natalia. So, Natalia, she had lived in Illinois, and we became friends in, like, June, and she was like, by the way, I'm moving to Boston in August. It sucks that we just became friends. Sorry about it, but I'm leaving you. And I'm like, cool. Really cool. Thank you, Natalia. Yeah. So, she ended up moving to Boston in, like, right at the end of August or beginning of September. I don't really know the exact date, not important, but she lived in Boston. That's the key thing here. So, basically, in Boston, the homecoming is, like, at the beginning of September-ish, right around there. So she didn't have anyone to go with, so she's like, hey, I'll fly you out to Boston if you come to homecoming with me. And I'm like, cool, dope, let's do it. And that was right around when she was leaving, like, August. And homecoming was probably mid-September, we'll say. Yeah, because it was, yeah. Homecoming was September 22nd. So, like, middle-ish end, whatever, same thing. Yeah, so she was going to fly me out. That was the plan. And then, all of a sudden, she came home. When was it? It was, like, sometime in September. Doesn't matter. She was back in Chicago, and she's like, hey... so, like, I have a boyfriend now. And I'm like, oh. Okay. That means we're not going to homecoming. But I already told my mom, I'm out this bitch on the 22nd and 23rd. So I'm not about to let that go to waste, right? Because I have privilege to get out of the house for a whole weekend without parent supervision. I think that's going to happen. I think the book it is. So basically... I was like, alright, well, I already told my mom, so can you help me sneak to South Carolina to see my boyfriend? Because I had a boyfriend, he was, like, fine with it. Because I don't know if he ever really cared about me. Anyways, no, I'm sure he did, but, like, I don't know. It was a whole big situation. We don't know what happened. Yeah. So, basically, I told my mom, and I was like, hey, I'm going to Boston. And I booked a flight to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is near where he lives. It's like an hour away. So I got to Charlotte. Let's back up. Back the fuck up. I told my mom I booked a flight to Boston, and I made up this entire thing. I made a fake flight and, like, said, yeah, I have to stop in Nashville on the way there because it was, like, a free flight. We used points or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, sure, honey, like, whatever. And I'm like, cool. Meanwhile, I'm actually going to South Carolina with no stop in Nashville because Nashville... Who even lives in Nashville? Does anyone care about Nashville? Some of you probably live in Nashville. Sorry. Love you. Oh, wow. My hair. My hair is, like, my biggest pet peeve. Like, if it's not perfect, then, like, I'll lose my shit. And this is me losing my shit right now because it's not perfect. And so I made up this entire flight thing, and she takes me to the airport. It's like 5 a.m. I don't want to be alive. I'm not thriving. I didn't have coffee that morning because Starbucks isn't open until 5, which it needs to open earlier because some people need coffee if they don't want to be fucking crabby the entire day and don't want to fall asleep on a plane. That person is definitely not me, but I'm just trying to help others. Yeah. So basically, she took me to the airport and I'm like, okay, bye mom, I'll see you when I come back on Sunday night. And she's like, okay, cool, see you soon, boo boo, bye-bye. And yeah. I kind of ended up fucking myself over. My mom does know now, by the way. Like, she knows, because there's a whole story. So basically, I got on a plane in Milwaukee, and I flew to Charlotte. I get in the Uber. I use the Uber app. Well, she has the Uber app on her phone. I get a $110 Uber from Charlotte, North Carolina to Columbia, South Carolina. Now, it charged my credit card, but she still got the notification on her app. So that was a dumb bitch move by me, except I wasn't thinking, because I was, like, in love or whatever, like, you know, that kind of thing. So, I get to Columbia, and she texts me, and she's like, hey. So I got a $110 Uber charge from Charlotte, North Carolina to Columbia, South Carolina. I thought you were in Nashville. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's like, weird. I don't know why you would have gotten that, like, I'm in Nashville, And she's like, okay, well, I'll just call him and dispute it, and, like, because at this point I was like, oh, shit, then, like, the police are gonna come for me. So I'm like, oh, I can do it, it's okay, like, I don't have anything to do, like, I'm sitting in an airport doing nothing. And she's like, okay, well, you better call. And I'm like, okay, I will, I'll call him right after you hang up. And she was like, okay, great. So, we hang up, I didn't call, I went out to eat with my boyfriend, and they had me hide in the bathroom because one of the girls that was my friends, because it was like, it wasn't just seeing him, it was seeing him, a bunch of my friends that are also his friends that live there too. One of the girls' mom is like a little bit psycho, and I had to go hide in the bathroom for a solid 30 minutes. That's a whole different story. Basically, everyone thought that I lived in South Carolina except the actual kids I was seeing, and they told their parents I'd lived there. So it was all just one huge big lie. That's cool. So yeah. That was fun. We had our fun, and it was time to go home the next day. I take another $110 Uber, except this time I went to Florence, South Carolina, because, I don't know, it was like cheaper or something. Don't know what happened there. But yeah, I went to Florence, and I got on my flight. It had a stop in Charlotte, so I was like, okay, cool, whatever. We'll stop in Charlotte. We can thrive. We can have fun. We can get some freaking Starbucks, because I love Starbucks. And I text my mom my flight status, and I'm like, hey, like, I'll be home at this time. And she's like, okay, whatever. And I go in the sky, whatever. I don't buy the $45 Wi-Fi because a bitch is about to sleep, because I don't need $45 Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. Like, that's just unnecessary. Okay, great. So, I get on the plane. We go back to Chicago. I land in Chicago, and I turn my phone back on, because I have, like, service now. And I wake up to a spam of texts from my mother. There's no flight from Boston that came in at this time. Why don't you tell me what you were actually doing? And she's like spamming me with messages. She is pissed. Like, ooh. Pissed. So I get in the car. And I'm all friendly and I'm like, hey mom, like, how you doing? And she's like, mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what happened when I got in the car. The whole way home, she was questioning me, and I had to, like, make up this entire story on the spot, and I'm like, oh yeah, Emma, like, her dad drove me to the airport, like, her dad picked me up from the airport, like, it was fine, like, I had a ride both ways, like, that's why you didn't get an Uber charge. And she's like, okay. And she's like, and what about that flight, like, coming in from Boston? I'm like, yeah, it actually had a stop in Charlotte. So, like, I had to go to, like, Boston to Charlotte, back to Chicago. And then, this sneaky little devil, she's believing me, at least I think she is. And she's like, and pulls out a giant-ass piece of paper with my credit card transcript that says every charge that I had made on that weekend. Panera Bread, Columbia, South Carolina. Best Buy, Columbia, South Carolina. Meijer, Columbia, South Carolina. Target, Columbia, South Carolina. Starbucks about 10 times, all in Columbia, South Carolina. So she found out, and she got pretty pissed at me. And I explained, and I'm like, hey, boo-boo. So, like, I wasn't about to give out the entire weekend where you were gonna, like, let me out of the house. Because I knew you would say, no, you can't go to see your boyfriend because, like, y'all are gonna have sex. I'm supposed to be keeping this PG. Not working out too well. But I exposed myself, and she's like, And, like, I thought I was dead. I thought she was gonna take my phone and fucking kill me. Also, keep in mind, at this point, she didn't know I was bi. So I wasn't saying boyfriend. I was like, I saw my friends, like, my friends. And she's like, And while I was there, I had changed my little profile picture on Instagram and on Twitter to a picture of me holding hands. And I was like, okay. We're good. Like, whatever. She's not gonna see it. No, this sneaky little devil saw my profile picture on Instagram and Twitter, and she's like, so is there something you're not telling me? And I'm like, yeah, so, like, surprise, I like boys. And she's like, whatever. And I'm like, oh, really? That's whatever. And she's like, yeah, I'm kind of pissed you didn't tell me earlier, but, like, whatever, I guess. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she got really mad and, like, wouldn't talk to me for, like, a day. But then we were all goody and fun and fresh and friends again. And, yeah. She got kind of pissed. She yelled at me a lot, wouldn't talk to me for a few days, said she was disappointed. But she never took my phone. Fun fact, my mom has never taken my phone, like, ever. That's, like, the line for her. She won't take it. Because I'm like, the people on here make me happy. And she's like, okay, well, I don't want you to be, like, fucking depressed. So, yeah. Basically. That's kind of the story that happened. And, yeah. I don't know. It was a whole mess. If you sat through this, good job, boo-boo. I'm proud of you. You sat through, like, 15 minutes of me being stupid and annoying and not being entertaining and of you wanting to die. But, like, hey. I love you. Like, good. Yeah. Also, me and broke up, like, 2 or 3 weeks after because of reasons that I'm not going to get into right now. But, yeah. I do have a boyfriend that I actually really love right now. So, that's great. And we're thriving. And, I don't know. That's about it. I will see you guys in the next video. And hopefully it won't be another one about how I have to sneak out to see my boyfriend now because he still lives far. Fun fact, my relationships have been long distance, which is really not fun and fresh, but, like, he doesn't live as far. He's, like, a 5-hour car ride away or, like, a 7-hour train ride, which is how I always get there. So that's really cool. I don't know. That's it for this, and I'll see you in the next video, I guess. I don't know. Bye. My baby.
Oh, baby.